guys, welcome to Fireside Chat with the Johnstons. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Justin.
All right, so we are excited to be on here with you guys today. If you are not familiar with Next Generation Gym Owners, first of all, stop what you're doing, pause the podcast, and go join our Facebook groups. Cheer Gym Owners on Facebook if you are a gym owner, and All-Star Cheer Coaches and Owners if you are a coach or an All-Star Cheer Gym owner.
Why would they want to join that compared to other groups out there?
Why?
What's the difference, Daniel?
Because we're the best. No, seriously, we are the best. We have gotten so many great things in there, like free resources that we give you guys. Rihanna was giving away this great summer camp packet. So much good stuff. We have blogs in there. We have just good conversations that are happening and helping gym owners grow their gyms.
And feedback. People have actually told us that, like, talking to us at conferences and different places, that they've followed the Facebook sites or the Facebook, what are they?
Groups?
Facebook groups. I don't know. I'm bad with emails and stuff. But anyways, they follow the Facebook groups and they literally started implementing what they hear in there. And they're seeing growth. They're seeing changes in their gym, positive changes. So, and to the point where they're like, hey, what's the next step? How do I go any further? And so, but they're seeing the positive changes. The other thing is we're trying to keep it where it's good business advice coming from there. So
we delete other people's advice sometimes in there because it's not solid business advice.
Yeah, if there's something that's not good business advice, that's not going to grow your gym in a positive manner, then we put out the positive and say, hey, this is what we would do in our gym in this circumstance, and this is why. It's a teaching moment.
For example, I'm just going to go down this road for a minute here.
Go ahead.
If somebody says 5 kids on the team just made matching hoodies but didn't get anything for the rest of the team, and there are people on there saying dismiss this person from your gym, I'm going to delete those comments because that's really bad advice. Do not dismiss somebody without having conversations with them and just seeing maybe they just didn't understand and maybe they didn't even violate a policy in the first place.
Oh, might not have been a policy. Yeah.
So don't be afraid to post in there because I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm just going to delete your comment if it's not good. At the same time, lots of great opportunities to get your questions answered in a way that will grow your business because there's lots of things you can do to grow it and things you can do to hurt it.
True.
And that's what we're going to go into today.
Probably one of the most important things with your gym and your business in general, and you can't buy this, it's earned.
Your reputation.
Yes.
Why, Dada? Why?
This is business.
So we're going to talk about today how to ensure that you have a good reputation by being not only a good gym owner, but a good customer.
Today's episode is brought to you by Alani, keeping us awake in the mornings.
I didn't have one of those because Justin bought all the gross flavors.
Cherry slush is the best, and she refuses to admit it, but that's okay.
Is it pink slush and cherry?
No, just cherry.
Oh,
cherry
I
slush.
like pink slush.
That's number one.
Yeah, no, that's gross.
It's rated number 1 by Justin.
5-star review by Justin. Okay, so let's get into this today, guys.
Let's go.
Because I'm sure that you have been at a restaurant and you saw the 2 hosts up there who are talking to each other and kind of ignoring you as a customer, and you're like, this is so frustrating. And I imagine that the better of a business owner you are, the worse of a customer you become sometimes.
I think she's saying judgy. You become very judgy.
I became judgy.
Super judgy.
So did Justin.
Yeah, it's true though. We'll be sitting there at a restaurant and being like, it's taking an extraordinarily long time for them to come give us food. Like, there's a time limit on this, and they have exceeded their time limit. Like, what is going on? It is not that busy in here. What is going on,
Or, think about it this way. Maybe it's taking a long time for a good reason, but nobody's informing you.
Yep.
Hey guys, I just checked on your food. It's going to be another couple minutes. Can I refill your drinks or anything in the meantime? Right? That I was a server for 9 years. That's what I would have done.
That just reset the clock.
For me, it does.
It does, yeah.
But I think that no matter what kind of business you're in, guys, there are lots of gym owners that are not big fans of their landlords. They think their landlords run a crappy business, right? They maybe don't fix things or abide by the contracts or cash your check for 3 weeks, which is super annoying. And we've experienced that when we rented. You become a more judgy customer in a lot of ways because you run a business, and the better your business is and the more you focus on the business itself, the more judgy you might find yourself being with other businesses.
It could be judgy too on the opposite side where you're like, wow, like that person did a really good job. Like, I'm impressed. This business really impressed me. So it goes both ways, but in both of them, they go to extremes. And so that's what we're talking about a lot today.
So I have to tell this, about a week and a half ago, we walked into a Mexican restaurant and they seated us and we were sitting there and nobody there. First of all, we had no chips, which is a real problem.
No chips and salsa.
It, like, you talk about us getting judgy.
Unacceptable.
We're going to judge hard if we don't even have chips. So anyway, we sat there for probably 10 minutes and then a server who had passed us twice just stopped and said, "Hey, has anybody been with you guys yet?" And we were like, "No, not yet." And he's like, "Let me get you some chips. Let me get you some drinks while I figure out, who's supposed to be taking care of you."
Who's your server? Yeah.
And it turned out he came back. He's like, "I still wasn't able to figure it out, but let me just go ahead and take your orders." And man, we tipped that guy good.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are good tippers because he did it right.
He noticed there was an issue and stepped in and took control. And
he was proactive.
He was very proactive. And that's the kind of employee you want.
Right.
That's the kind of business that you want. Like, even when there's a missed opportunity or a mistake, somebody's going to step up and take control of it. So,
flip side, if that server had not offered us drinks and chips and stuff, and he had just said, "Let me find out who's supposed to be your server." Like, yes, that's cool that he recognized nobody had been with us, but I don't think that I would have been quite as impressed because I wouldn't have seen that proactivity of like, "Hey, I might not make $1 off of this table, but I'm going to make sure that somebody takes care of you."
Yeah.
Like, that's just a good employee. And at my gym, I want people to pick up trash that they see in the parking lot walking in.
It's not their job.
Proactive. Yeah.
Not their job. And we're not paying them extra to go out there. As a matter of fact, that person probably hasn't even clocked in yet.
Yeah.
But they're being a good employee. They're being just a good steward of
the facility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into this a little bit and why it would be important to be a good customer for your...
Well, what is it?
Businesses you're doing business with. I lost my words. The dog started barking at the horses that it's apparently never seen before.
Easy for you to say. All right.
Okay, so let's get into it. First of all, there is kind of a ripple effect with being a poor customer. We are in a town of 20,000 people. Shelly is in Reno, but did you catch this week what she said? We were in the business meeting. You did catch it. I knew you would.
Yeah.
That she said, I'm in Reno, and Reno is a small town. I know, blah, blah, blah. Like, she was kind of talking about how there were others there that she knew. And I just thought, man, even in 70,000 people, you can gain a reputation that others really look to you and know you for.
It's kind of that glass house effect. Everybody's watching.
Yep.
And so they pay attention to that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so think about in a small town, people talk. And if you are behaving a certain way as a customer, it's surely going to reflect on how people might foresee you as a business owner. Perhaps you didn't tip your waiter because you're like, "Oh, he was terrible. I'm not tipping him." Tipping is sort of a standard, at least here in the US. And so it might reflect on your lack of grace as a business owner, your level of expectation. And when I think about a business owner who's going to treat somebody else that way, a lot of times I'm like, well, then you better never make mistakes if that's what you're expecting.
So, just on the tipping one, we typically will tip. We tip anyways. We just may not go back to that restaurant for a while if you get bad service. But it doesn't mean that you go out there and blast them on the internet and say a lot of bad things and tell them how terrible they are on the way out.
Yeah.
Write notes for them like, "Hey, your tip is do better next time." Things like that. You still tip them and you move on. And then what would you suggest, Danielle?
Yeah, I think anytime you can directly notify the business owner, that's not a bad thing. Like the business owner or the manager, like, "Hey, we had really bad service today. Just want to let you know because normally we come here, we have great service and we really like the food. And I just wanted to give you a heads up. Maybe that server needs a little bit of extra help or something." what would I want in my business if my front desk really screwed something up, or, there was a line of people at the front and they were chatting and not paying attention to it. I would hope that someone would come to me rather than go write a Google review about it.
I mean, just to give one instance, a restaurant that we had gone into many, many times and we enjoyed. I walked in one day with my daughter, and the lady that was serving had socks on that said F you right up the socks. And I was like, oh man, this is a family place. This isn't like some place where it's acceptable for that. And you wouldn't want to bring kids in and be like, hey, Dad, what does that mean? Anyways, I reached out personally to the owner and said, hey, just wanted you to know this was what one of your employees was wearing today. And he was like, I appreciate it. And he got that fixed. But it was just like, that's the way to do it, though, is to reach directly out to people and, not to slam them on some review page.
Just letting you know, if you think we're a couple of prudes, this place had a kids menu. It was not a nightclub. So I also think, though, this goes back as far as giving reviews to places. I think that there is a time and a place for a review. When you're super mad is not the time to do it. When you haven't reached out to the owner or manager is not the time to do it. And then also when it comes to chargebacks, there's nothing that makes me more mad. Like in the gym, if we have provided a service and somebody does a chargeback, all of you, I bet your blood pressure is raising just as I say this, because I get so angry. Now, do I go to the person and just let them have it? No, I don't. But I am here to tell you, I will never do a chargeback personally if I have received a service of any kind, because we all kind of know the customer wins, and it's honestly stealing.
The one key aspect to all of this, it comes back to reputation, though.
Yeah.
What do you want to be known for in the community? Do you want to be known for the person that is very opinionated and will speak her mind or his mind? Or do you want to be that person that people are like, you know what? They are always fair. They take care of people. Even when they had bad service, they still tip that person. And they called me later and let me know, that type of person. That's the kind of reputation that you want in town. You want people, that will come back to you as well.
And if you're somebody who naturally, like, you speak your mind, you always have an opinion, welcome to my club. I'm the president. There has to be a filter on there, and there has to be a process almost that, like, I won't write a review unless I've already kind of mentally gone through this process of, like, did I screw something up? Is there something that was in writing that I should have known? Etc. And I just want to make one more comment when we're talking, because everyone's blood pressure is just now leveling out. And I really would like you to see where I'm coming from here. On the chargebacks, like, it's like me charging back the gym. Like, okay, I'm a customer and I'm going to do a chargeback because I haven't been to class in 4 weeks. But that spot was held for me. Mm-hmm. It's almost like Netflix. You're going to do a chargeback to Netflix because you didn't watch anything for the last 4 weeks. Like, that's not how that works. So really think about that as a customer, because boy, did the banks make it easy these days, and the credit card companies.
Absolutely.
And there's still an element of, like, what's fair is fair. You sign up for Netflix and it doesn't really matter if you watched it or not.
We don't do that here.
What's fair is fair, even to the man, to the corporations.
And there is a cost of doing business out there.
Sure.
Like, you're gonna be treated unfairly at times, and it's just, if you're sticking yourself out there in a vulnerable state of providing a service to people are going to do bad things.
Right.
But it's not everybody. It's usually the exception to the rule, not the expectation.
The standard, yeah. Just don't be that person. That's basically, where I think a lot of this comes from today is, like, treat other businesses the way that you want customers to treat your business. If I walk in somewhere and I see that they are super busy and I had an appointment, so I go to a nail salon and I had an appointment for 1 p.m. and they are slammed, maybe they accidentally took too many walk-ins, or mom begged at the last minute to have her daughter's nails done. Like, can I have some grace if I get in there at 1:15? Yes. Am I still going to get my pedicure if I don't get in until 2? Turns out the answer is yes. I probably will, right? But just have grace for them, because you know that things don't always go the way that you planned in your own business.
And I don't want to get prophetic on this, but at the same time, I do believe you reap what you sow. And
Yeah.
so if you're sowing a lot of negativity and you go out and speak your mind about gyms or not gyms, but just businesses in general
Vendors.
in your town, you're going to reap that. And I think
Mhm.
people are going to speak negatively about you. And then those instances are going to come back to haunt you later. Try to be the positive person. Try to see the good and understand that, maybe that server was having a bad day. The socks, that was the only socks that lady had for the day. I don't know, but
Maybe.
they need to, but there's a positive way to do it and a negative way to do it. And so try to do the positive thing, because in the long run, people need to see your business in a positive light and be like, hey, those people are good people over there, because you are going to have somebody speak badly about you, and the sowing is going to reap you back when people are like, you know what, those people are typically always on that. So maybe that was a bad day for them. Maybe it was, you know what I mean? They're going to stick up for you because you have been positive, positive, positive. And so when you do have that negative, you'll see your customers come back and stick up for you.
Yeah.
And that's where it helps a lot.
So I think this also applies, we're very much talking about, okay, you walk into a restaurant in your town and whatnot, but this very much applies to vendors in the industry as well. Yeah. Like, if you order something from a vendor, pay for it. Make sure that you're paying on time. Make sure that you are responsible and you're prepared and you're paying attention to deadlines. I will tell you, I had an opportunity this season to be a bad customer, and I chose not to be. I ordered bows. Please don't tell my bow lady I ordered from China first, because I was like, I think I can get a really good deal on bows, and everything else I've ordered from this company in China has been really good so far. So I ordered some bows from China, and of course I asked, to see the mock-up of the colors, but we all know, like, number one, Androids, like, don't trust them, right? When they take a photo, you don't know how it's going to come across. You don't know how the settings on your computer or your phone, like, will they filter the blue light? So the red, and also if red is one of the colors in your gym, like, you might just hate life sometimes because there are 20,000 shades of red. So I get these bows, and I had seen the picture and I was like, oh, those are super cute. And I get these bows and they're like burnt orange. I had the opportunity in that moment to be a really bad customer and say, this bow looks terrible. But I also had the opportunity, I had to think back and say, like, what could I have done better? You know what? I could have ordered a single bow and I could have asked for a sample before I paid all this money to get these bows. Mm-hmm. I then would have seen the quality. I would have seen the color. I could have made adjustments. So that was my mistake, because the person did exactly what they were supposed to do, right? Yeah. So if anybody would like to buy 55 burnt orange bows.
Super cute, though.
I'm going to give you a deal. Okay, so let's go into the long-lasting impacts of some of the actions that you might take as a customer.
That affect reputation big time.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's say I go and I do a Facebook or a Google review. Yes, you can log into Facebook and change your review at one point. Yes, you can log into Google and change your review if you later decide that you have changed your mind. But let me take you back to 2013 when it was our first season, and I really made some parents mad, and I was not the greatest gym owner. I did not know a whole bunch of things that I know now. And all of my reviews that are not so great, the majority came from those moments. Now,
that was very politically correct. I was a not so great. Terrible? Maybe.
We actually have really good Google reviews. It's just, if you have Google reviews, you know that it doesn't take a lot to bring them down, right? Like, one bad review will take you to 4.9. 2 bad reviews out of hundreds can take you to 4.8.
I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but when you have no systems,
right,
and you don't know anything about business, yep, and
you don't know how to manage parents in the gym
and staff,
you don't give them good expectations. You're
not so good is a very nice way to put it.
Maybe you even have a bad temper and you're just going to shoot off at the mouth because you are 26 and you have a temper.
And you wear your feelings right here.
And blood pressure rises really quickly on things. Yeah. Okay. So let's say hypothetically that's you. And you end up kicking out 6 parents that year. You dismiss them from the program.
Dismissed.
Sometime in the middle of the season, and you've really made a decent amount of people upset. You're probably going to get a decent amount of poor Google reviews. Let's then say, hypothetically, one of these parents comes back to you about 10 years later, and you get to sit down and you kind of resolve some things. You're like, hey, listen, I learned a lot in the last 10 years. I'm a totally different gym owner. Like the gym is run very differently. And this parent is apologetic of their actions as well. So this was me. And
I thought that was hypothetical.
oh yeah, that's super hypothetical. And I think it was 2020 that I finally said, hey, why don't you come back to the gym? Your gym just closed. I know that your daughter still wants to cheer. I know that she is wanting to go to college for cheer. She can tumble locally. You guys live 5 minutes from the gym. Let's try this again. And that parent was amazing and ended up like being the greatest parent in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point, I get the guts to go back to her and say, so in 2013, you gave me a really terrible 1-star review. And I did the math. And this 1-star review is actually pulling down my score by a 0.1 right now. And I could go back up to a 4.8 if you could maybe consider changing your review at this point, now that you've been here for another year or two and things are going great. Here's the problem. Gym owner or parent says, I no longer have access to that Google account. I'm locked out. So I can write a new review, but I cannot fix that review.
Mm.
And how many of you get locked out of a Facebook account or it's been hacked and gone forever but still exists, but it's not you? So we have to think about those kind of reviews that we are leaving, because in 10 years, you might have a totally different perspective on something, or you've learned a lot, or you recognize what
It's a
you could
totally
have
different
done.
gym at that point, yeah.
Essentially, those reviews are permanent. So be very cautious what reviews and what things you're putting out online in regard to other businesses or other people, because a snapshot makes it permanent.
Oh, yeah. And it'll come back. It can come back to haunt you.
For sure.
Actually, it will.
So think about that potential gym owner so that it's not you. Right?
And we're not asking you to be fake. Like,
No.
Don't be a person that's like, I'm going to compartmentalize everything. I'm never going to say anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to be non-existent. Try to do it in a constructive way, a more positive manner. That's
Right.
and if you can go direct with people instead of just randomly putting stuff out there.
So think about how this works in the industry as well. If I work with a uniform company and maybe I was, I made some mistakes, or this company that gave me these burnt orange bows, I go give them a terrible review and I get really mad at them. The next person who might want to, or I might go to get service may not want to work with me all that much. Like maybe I'm not going to get as great of service because they already know this might be a problem customer right from the beginning.
Yep.
Right. And when it comes to local stuff, people talk. Like bad customers 2 restaurants down from us were the same bad customers we had, or they were people that, we talked and we knew who to be cautious of. Right. And the same thing happens in our industry if you're a gym owner going to a vendor and you're a bad customer.
Yeah.
Whether that's event producers or uniform companies or equipment companies or anything.
Whether we like it or not, we talk about small towns, but this is a small industry.
It is.
In many ways. And so, people tend to shift from business to business in those, and people talk.
So don't be a bad customer.
Yeah. Just be a great customer and provide constructive feedback. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about practicing compassion and self-awareness. Justin's going to talk about this because I don't have any of those things.
It's so funny.
I'm just kidding. I've actually learned them if you just listen to the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. It took a few years, but she got to the part where she was a lot more compassionate.
Yeah. And unless you're Justin's wife, he's very compassionate as well.
Yeah.
Um,
that was a dig. Ouch.
No.
Well, that's okay.
Okay, so you're going to be frustrated as a customer sometimes. Again, I got those burnt orange bows. I was frustrated. But it was my opportunity to turn the mirror back around and say, what did I do wrong here? You're going to have that same kind of compassion because you're going to hope for it or expect it from your own customers as well.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're thinking about this. Also, don't be oblivious in your own business. Knowing what frustrates you in other businesses should make you that much better in your own.
Yeah, that's one thing that we do a lot is when we're in other businesses and we see things that are like, oh man, that was fantastic. How can we apply that to our business?
Mm-hmm.
Or we see stuff that are like, oh man, that was some of the worst service I've ever, like their hiring process must be, something's wrong with it. Like they are literally just hiring warm bodies because that person could care less whether we're here or not. And then we kind of go back to our business and look at it like, are our people like actually being compassionate and like thinking about people and like helping them and being like in this case with the restaurant idea where that kid was just went out of his way to help out even though it wasn't even his area. Are our employees like that? And so we kind of like start, it constantly keeps you on your toes and watching for those types of things. So but there's a lot of people that are oblivious to it and they're like, you know what, I never have that problem in my business. Like nobody ever is like that. They probably are.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect out there.
Hopefully you're also walking into different places and really putting on like your business owner glasses. Because if I go to the local, like a local no-name car dealership, I'm maybe going to walk in and maybe they'll offer, well, I'm maybe going to walk in. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk in and they're maybe going to offer me a bottle of water or like a cup of coffee in a small styrofoam cup, right? The difference, you walk into a Lexus dealership and I'm kind of expecting a full meal. Sometimes if I'm buying a car, I expect several meals, right? And I think that we take those experiences and we put them into our business and we think, what is the level of expectation that I want someone to have walking in here because they know our brand and they know what we're capable of.
Yep.
You walk into the local car mart, maybe there's a salesman that's available to meet with you. Maybe he'll be on time. Maybe he's there that day. Maybe the door's even unlocked where you could walk in and talk to a salesman if you wanted to. The difference would be if you walk into a Lexus dealership and your salesman is still working with the previous people, I bet it's 30 seconds before they find somebody who's going to work with you. Or they will do what we did and they'll say, somebody will be with you in just a second. We've got food and snacks and lattes and stuff in the back. And you are welcome to look at all the cars on the showroom floor in the meantime.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a real problem for us because I wanted the car on the showroom floor.
Yeah, that was a terrible thing.
They were very strategic. But it also got me thinking, like, okay, so let's say somebody's private lesson runs 5 minutes late. Let's say my practice is going to run 5 minutes late. Is that level of communication there?
Yep.
Am I being a good host to those people who are in my gym by saying, hey, is it okay if we go just 5 minutes late right now? Because we're kind of as a team having a really good conversation right now about our motivation and practice style and stuff. Makes a big difference with parents.
I don't know what to add to that other than level of service. What level of service are you providing? And if you expect that from other businesses, is your business giving the same, if not better? And Danielle giving the example of a Car-Mart versus a Lexus dealership, obviously polar opposites, but are you somewhere in the middle on your level of service and what you're providing to people?
Or are you striving to be the Lexus dealership?
Yeah. And why not strive to be like that? Because do you want your customers to walk in and go, oh my gosh, like, this isn't like, this blew me away. I want people to walk away and go, I was blown away. This is by far the nicest place I've ever been to. And not just the way it looks, but customer service. That is the number one way to blow people away is customer service. You can have a place that is not the nicest or doesn't have all the amenities, but if you blow them away with customer service, they will walk away impressed. And honestly, that will grow you to the point where you will have the nicest amenities as well, or you can.
I do want to just give one more example because I realize that a lot of people might have a hard time relating, like, how do I make my cheer gym more like a Lexus dealership? I want to just put one more example out there. Have you ever gone to Walmart and you go to the gun counter and nobody is there and you have to call for somebody or go to a different department, or I go to the jewelry counter and I have to to get ears pierced for a little kid or something, and you have to wait forever and you're like, I don't even know where to find an employee right now. Comparison, Dillard's, which is like a Macy's, that's where we go get Justin's nice clothes. So like his little cowboy shirt, if you were at the last Dallas conference.
Why do you call a little cowboy shirt?
He's got little cowboys on it.
That's
He'll be wearing it again at this Dallas conference because that's where you wear little cowboy shirts.
Yeah. I really wear a large, but she gets me a medium or a small.
I'm not saying it's a little shirt. I'm saying it has little cowboys.
I know, it's just weird to say. That's cool.
Anyway,
that's cool.
When you go to Dillard's, there's no way you are looking for a shirt in the men's department and somebody doesn't come over and say, can I help you find anything? Right? You're in the fitting room and they're like, sir, is everything fitting okay? Can I get you any different sizes? You are walking through and maybe I have to go to the bathroom or something and I'm just looking for a bathroom and the lady at the perfume counter is asking, can I help you with anything today? Like there
And she's
are
like, yeah, I want little cowboys. Looking for some little
looking
cowboys.
for a shirt with little cowboys on it. But the point of that is, what is the difference between Walmart and Dillard's or Macy's? There's a huge difference in it. So which one is your gym? Is it Walmart or Dillard's? That was a bit of a deviation off of this, but I'm also looking at this from the perspective of, think of how your gym, like when you walk in, what level of service you're getting as a customer, and transform your mind into thinking, how do I provide a better level of service or that level of service as a gym owner?
Just thinking about that, Walmart is quantity.
Sure.
They have, they push out the most products. They have the most stores. Dillard's is more quality.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to have that happy medium. You need people to flow through your gym,
Right.
but you also need to have that quality. So it's really a pendulum.
Can we do a future episode on quality versus quantity?
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
Because now I'm thinking, like, as we're talking, I just feel like I have so many examples.
Yeah, we need
that
to,
relate.
because I feel like we're talking about reputation here in this one, but it could really go down deep into that one. So anyways,
Okay, so prepare for that in the next couple of months, you guys. And we've
Yes.
got a good quality versus quantity. Which one is better when it comes to your gym? Because it really affects your pricing and everything.
it does.
Okay, you guys, so this obviously was a much bigger topic than even the Johnstons anticipated. And we're pretty good with 2 to 3 part segments here,
Try to stay on time.
but we never do.
Yeah.
So with that, we are going to pause this week's episode, or I guess officially end it, and we are going to pick it back up next week with part 2, talking about your reputation matters, why business owners need to be good customers too.
And you've got to earn it.
You have to earn next week's episode?
No, you've
How?
got to earn this reputation.
You've got to earn the reputation.
Yes.
That's right. And we're going to talk about how you can do that on next week's episode of Fireside Chat with the Johnstons.
Let's do this.
So thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.
Ciao.